I'm John Hinneberger, and I'm here with Nick Mitchell-Bennett, the Executive Director of the Brownsville Community Development Corporation, one of the largest and most successful of the community development corporations doing business on the U.S.-Mexico border. Hi, Nick.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good. Tell me a little bit about what Brownsville CDC has been up to lately. What sort of housing programs are you all operating?
Well, over the years, we've been more focused on single-family home ownership programs, typically subdivision development, rehab, and then within that, we do different boutique type of programs like self-help and owner-occupied rehab. We do housing counseling. We also have a youth build program that we kind of merge in with our single-family development program. So it's basically been all around single-family and how we're able to assist those people.
And you also do work in the Colonias, and you do work with really low-income
Yeah,
folks.
that's really, that's kind of how we all started. I mean, we're 35 years old this year, and our first mandate was to eliminate outdoor pit privies in the city of Brownsville. And we kind of joke that we're still doing that. 35 years later, we may be a big developer there in Brownsville, but we're still going after and looking for outhouses and building new bathrooms in the Colonias and tearing down old homes and building new reconstructions in the Colonia areas. We're the Colonia Self-Help Center provider for Cameron and Willacy counties, and we work in 5 targeted colonias where we do rehab, minor rehab, as well as new construction for folks there.
So how has the housing need along the U.S.-Mexico, your portion of the U.S.-Mexico border, changed in the last 10 or 15 years? What are you seeing that's different now?
Well, really, I mean, if you wanted to take something like Cameron Park, for example, which was kind of the really the poster child of the Colonia, we've been able to show that what you could really do in a community if you have a really concerted effort in putting money and labor behind that type of thing. And that's what we've done throughout the whole city of Brownsville and in Cameron County, is we've really focused on targeted assistance, and which has helped to improve the housing conditions in our colonias and as well as in our city areas. But it's been a very we've had a lot of growth in the area population-wise, and that has brought a lot of attention over the last 10 to 15 years. With NAFTA and that kind of thing, we're now the front door. Whether the rest of the world likes it, the border of Texas is the front door, and there was a lot of attention in our area for a while, and so we've been able to improve housing that way for folks. But well, because Nick, our population has grown, keeping up with that has been difficult.
Now that the state has put in place restrictions on the development of new colonias and is requiring developers to put water and sewer in, it's driven up the cost of lots in the colonias.
Oh yeah.
And where are those people going who used to go to the colonias to build a house? How are they getting housing today in your part of the woods?
Today, before the world kind of fell apart 18 months ago, back when those same people actually could go and get a loan, a subprime loan. On the border, we had owner-developers that really didn't operate anywhere around the state except for on the borders. And so they've taken the colonia, people who would end up in the colonias were actually able to go into a fairly nice subdivision and buy a house. However, the loan product that they were buying a home was so stacked against them that within a year they were being foreclosed on. We're talking, interest rates of 15 to 20%, $5,000 down, and then there would be no escrow for their taxes or insurance. So these people would go buy a new home, and their payments were $400, $500, $600 a month, but that's without taxes and insurance included. So really, these owner developers started creating new colonias. And that's been a real issue that we're having to deal with today, is helping these folks to stay in their home.
So they're, in essence, they were building colonias, but the developer in this case was actually building a house and selling it to them on a
Right,
subprime
yeah,
loan?
it would be, selling them on a subprime loan, and you know, what would look like a middle-income neighborhood, because, you know, now you have to have water and sewer and you know, and all those things, and curbs and gutters and streets, and, you know, and that was great, but what happened is then they just figured out, you know, some of these developers and lenders figured out a way um, to make the money they were making before on the Colonia sales, but, you know, do it in this fashion, which was a very, very subprime loan.
So how do you help folks like that? What's the solution for the problem of people who bought into those houses with a subprime loan and now they can't afford it?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we are a foreclosure counseling agency, so if they come to us soon enough, then we've been able to help them. We've been able to help do workouts for them, and about 85 to 90% of the clients that we see in that service that we provide, we're able to help and keep them in their home. That's if they come to us in time. Those who don't, it's been very difficult to help them out, and so that's what we're struggling with now. Really, is how do we help these folks? How do we get them a place to live? And, which then takes us into, you know, will CDC be getting into rental properties? Is probably where we're heading, because there is a great need for that now, because of this issue, and there's always has been in the Brownsville area and southern Cameron County, and we're now feeling that we may need to jump in there and to alleviate the pressure.
So you see rental housing development as is that the biggest solution you see on the horizon? Or what is most needed in order to be able to deal with what is you still have a hugely rapidly growing population?
Yes, yeah. I think, well, on one hand, there's those who have been foreclosed on, and we need to help them, and they're there, and there are lots of them. So that's one thing that we need to do, and I think, obviously, they need to live someplace, so we're gonna have to do some sort of rental housing, or, you know, it'll have to be some sort of rental housing track for them. But on the other hand, because our population is growing, is really one is education of the loan products out there, and that people are getting into, and that they understand what they're getting into, which we do. We're doing a lot of education now, a lot more education, and credit counseling and home buyer counseling, and then to create a loan product really is what we need to do that assists these folks. Right now, not the ones who have been foreclosed on, but the new home buyer. I mean, our median age in Brownsville is about 26. So there's like you said, there's always people coming into the market to buy a home, and culturally buying a new house is the thing to do, and having a piece of property. And so having a loan product that folks are able to access, that is safe, you know, that is, and I mean safe meaning that it's a good rate, and you know, it's fixed, and you know, that the home is you know, they're escrowing for taxes and insurance, and that folks understand what that means, and that they're getting into a good product, and that they're able to stay in, because we've proven it. You know, we service loans as well that we've done, you know, these for low-income folks with lower underwriting criteria, and you know, our foreclosure rate is, you know, less than 1%, because they're, you know, they understand it, but it needs to be a good, safe product. So something like that needs to be, you know, designed and utilized.
And the typical range of incomes of the families that you work with is what?
The last 10 loans that we did, I actually looked at them. I was developing this kind of loan product that I was just talking about. It was $19,000 a year. Was the last 10 loans that we closed. So that's 19,000 is about 62% of the area median income.
That's a remarkable thing when you can put a family at that income level into homeownership.
It's a
and
great
keep
thing.
them there.
Yeah, and keep them there. Yeah, no, it's a great thing. I mean, and it's exciting. I mean, our programs like the Bootstrap program, which is the self-help program, and loan products like the 502 USDA program allow us to reach down to that lowest level of income for first-time home buyers. And these are folks who are working. We're not giving anything away. They're working. They have a job that they've been at for more than 2 years. But they're making minimum wage, and their increase in wages is not gonna go up anytime soon. So they're good credit risk, and they're hardworking folks. They just need a little bit of help, and hopefully that's what we're doing.
And how long has Brownsville CDC been doing this?
35 years.
And how long have you been doing it?
20.
Well, congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you.